Hey cousins, welcome to Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas.
Cousins, welcome to this episode of Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas. I'm Cornell Wright, the people's lobbyist, and today we're going to talk about something that really goes well in this environment, empathy. Now, cousins, empathy is something that has always been around. Perhaps we have not had a complete understanding of it, but I think this year in 2020, we've all had a touch with it more than perhaps we ever have before. Everybody. And so just to be clear, empathy is the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within their frame of reference. Okay? That is the capacity to place yourself in another's position. During this year of 2020, we've all had empathy. We've all had our own situations. Some people have had personal traumas. Some of us have gotten sick. We've known people who've gotten sick. We've lost experiences. We've lost opportunities. We've all had situations that have caused us to have, unfortunately, in this difficult situation, a united feeling in regards to what has happened to us all. Empathy, also, when you think about it, for any time you've had a chance to go and join a cousin and you might want to share a brown liquor or have a cup of coffee, a lot of times you're, in fact, what? You're being empathetic with your cousin or with your friend about something that they may be going through. One of the old expressions that we're all familiar with, I'm modifying it to make it from him to her, is to walk a mile in her shoes. Okay? What does that really mean? That means that you're going to step out of who you are, out of your ego space, and then go and put yourself in another cousin's position, i.e. to walk a mile in their shoes, to see what does it feel like? What do they experience? How do their feet feel at the end of that mile? You see what I'm saying? So as a result of that, we all are starting to have more of those experiences, and we need to have more empathy. Why? Because empathy is something that can give us an opportunity of uniting around what are those things that are common purposes, common issues, and those things we all need to address. You see what I'm saying, cousins? Empathy is a good thing. However, empathy is not a soft emotion. Let me repeat, empathy is not a soft emotion. Why? Because it's hard to be empathetic. All right? You're going to take yourself out of your space where you are and then say, okay, forget all those things, and I'm going to put myself where my other cousin is in regards to understanding what he or she is doing. Let me give you a couple examples. They claim that persons who are most concerned about motorcycle riders are people who ride motorcycles and people who are friends of people who ride motorcycles. You think about it. The people who are most observant of motorcycles on the highway and on the streets are those people who are riders or people who have friends that are riders. Why? Because you empathize with the situation of people on motorcycles. A lot of times, cousins, when you're sitting down, you're having a drink with somebody and they tell you about something that's happened in their lives. Unfortunately, this year, there's been a lot of bad stories, difficult situations that cousins have been going through. We're all empathizing. We see it on TV. We see it on stories. Every time you see and you talk to a cousin, maybe some of your family members are directly involved with things. It takes empathy. So cousins, at this point in time, this is just before the holiday season. I'm dressed up in my finery, got my holiday tie on, and I'm wanting to express my consideration and my genuine care and concern for all the cousins in regards to this holiday season, no matter what you call the holiday season. Okay? I happen to say happy holidays. Why? Because I want to cover all the cousins I know. And oh, by the way, it reaches from now into the new year, right? So happy holidays works for me. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. Just wish me whatever good wishes you want to give me this holiday season. I don't care. I'll accept it. And everyone else will too. So no one's limited. Just go ahead and express the good holiday season joy and exchange in a positive way. Happy holidays, cousins. So you start thinking about this, cousins. How do we then start to take this empathy, which is important, and start to translate that out to what things we may need moving into this new year of 2021? It's almost there, cousins. Okay? It's been a tough year for a lot of levels, and we're almost through to 2021. I heard someone once say that in regards to 2020, it's like a new software offering, that it was dead on arrival and we need to reboot 2020 in order to get to 2021, right? That's not too far from being true. But we started looking at this whole thing. So here's another example in regards to empathy. It's a complex emotion. There have been stories written. There are people who have classes on it. Talked to one friend of mine. She's a PhD down at college down in Philadelphia area. She was talking about she teaches an entire class on empathy. So by no means I'm going to try to do that for you here, but just recognize that the more we get in touch with empathy, the more we all are going to be better off. Okay? Just as for instance, we're talking about human emotions and how that starts to play out, and it starts to being complex. Oftentimes the word is used being complicated, but I heard this example that might give you a better feeling for that. Complicated is a 747. You can take a 747, a fully functional 747, you can take it apart. It's complicated. You can also put all those parts on the ground, and you can put them all back together, and the plane would then be able to take off and fly. Complicated. Complex is mayonnaise. You take the egg yolk, you take some oil, you take some vinegar or lemon juice, you mix them together, you have mayonnaise. You can't now separate those out into something else. Follow me, cousins? It's complex. You already have mayonnaise, you can't separate it out. Complicated versus complex. So empathy is a complex emotion that we have to, one, learn and grow and exercise that muscle, cousins. Because as we all start to understand and see, a lot of things have happened to cousins this year that wasn't their fault. Cousins lost jobs. Cousins have lost businesses. Cousins have gotten sick. Some cousins have gotten, as a result of being sick, have gotten into financial difficulties. Any of the combinations of human dramas that we've experienced this year are all complex. We then have to have a complex emotion of empathy in order to be able to better understand and what? Help our cousins out and help them through. Food banks, cousins, need your help and money. Any of the charities that are out there, any of the clothing, any for kids for toys. Think about all the people that need things. The other day I was driving down and there was lines out in front of a church with people just lined up to get food, cousins. Lined up to get baskets of food, and it wasn't for Thanksgiving, it wasn't for Christmas. It was just people trying to make it through the day. So wherever you are, cousins, recognize that we need to start becoming more empathetic to our cousins so we can all what? Get stronger together and make it through this thing and move into 2020 in a better position. All right, cousins? Empathy. We're going to I'm going to talk about a lot more in 2021. It's something for you today. And let's start to recognize it's not an easy or soft emotion. It is hard to do when you want to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. All right, cousins, that's it for today. Keep wearing your mask. We still have to do those, even if we get the vaccine. And you take care of yourselves, because I care about you. I want you to care about me. Take care.
We are the people. We are the people.